Hello everyone, welcome back to another Magic the Gathering Commander review video. We are in the Planar Chaos set, which introduces some new dragons with some cool triggered abilities, but more importantly, it focuses on characters that I have talked about in previous videos, but gives them like an alternate reality persona. So today we're talking about Mirri the Cursed, and originally Mirri we had talked about was a mono green cat. Cat warrior, I think. And Mirri the Cursed is a mono black vampire cat. Now this is not the art that I used to own, but one of the first starter decks that I don't think I bought this one, this was gifted to me for a Christmas, was my first deck that I ever actually like owned. It was a Rakdos red black madness discard craziness deck, and this was like the finisher payoff of the deck because it was all about being aggressive, getting your board out quickly, and overwhelming your opponent. So Mirri the Cursed is a legendary vampire cat. With that story being said, I was never really good with this card or with that deck, but Mirri does hold a special place in my heart because it and like the Mind Sliver were like two cards that I remember the most from that deck. And it was the first deck, like, pre-con that I ever owned. But Mirri the Cursed, Vampire Cat, 3/2 for power and toughness, a 4 mana value with 2 generic and 2 black. It has 3 keywords, Flying, First Strike, and Haste, which is very cool, some keyword soup stuff. And then a triggered ability. Whenever Mirri deals combat damage to a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Mirri, which is fantastic. Now that triggered ability with First Strike is important, and we're going to talk right about that in the card rulings. So this card ruling that was updated back in 2021, so not too long ago, says that if Mirri the Cursed is blocking or blocked by a creature that doesn't have First Strike or Double Strike, Mirri will deal combat damage to that creature, then get a +1/+1 counter. Then, if the other creature survived, Mirri will be dealt combat damage. In a weird roundabout way, this is explaining how First Strike and Double Strike works. I always like to explain it with a sword versus a spear. A sword does not have the length or reach of a spear, so a creature with First Strike has a spear. A creature with normal combat damage, it doesn't have First Strike or Double Strike, just has a sword. So the creature with First Strike will poke you from a distance before the sword can ever hit you, right? And then Double Strike is you get to poke someone with the sword and with the spear and swing down your sword as well. So you get 2, right? So Mirri will deal combat damage first with First Strike to any creature that doesn't have First Strike or Double Strike because it has a spear. When it deals that damage, the trigger will go on the stack, resolving, giving it a +1/+1 counter, making it a 4/3. And then, if the creature that Mirri dealt damage to survived the First Strike attack, that a creature will then swing back with its sword at Mirri, who has now just increased its toughness. But that is essentially how First Strike works, and it's very cool on this commander. A very popular iconic card to synergize with this commander is kind of just going Voltron, and what better Voltron weapon than Black Blade Reforged to just really beef up your commander and swing in for a lot of commander damage. Speaking of shenanigans you can do with this commander, and I've been on a kick about this for quite a little bit. I think it's because a lot of these commanders are aggressive, and a lot of these, what we're looking at here, and if you've watched the previous episodes, you'll see the pattern that's coming up, is this is a goad, initiative, and or monarch strategy, with the idea that these commanders, in this case Mirri, wants to attack, it wants to fight, it wants to deal combat damage, and that could be with blocking too, because the First Strike also applies for defense. So what you want to do is you want to either incentivize your opponents to fight each other, with goading effects, which is in black, but maybe not fully in mono black. You might have to dabble into some other stuff. There is initiative or just general dungeon cards, but the initiative is the one you really want to focus on because you want to have the initiative. You want to be able to invoke or provoke your opponents to try and come steal the initiative from you, either so you can block with your commander, which has first strike, or so you can take it back from them with your commander that has first strike, and get advantage by delving through the Undercity specifically because of the initiative. And then, of course, the Monarch is the same thing. You want to become the Monarch, get advantage from being the Monarch, and then either defending it with your first striking commander or taking it from your opponents with your first striking commander. So, very aggressive, very much wanting to speed up the game and really do a lot of combat damage along the entire board. And that is going to do it for Mirri the Cursed. Very cool card. Lots of different deck ideas you can build with this commander, which is why it has S tier. And let me know what you guys think. If there's anything I missed in the comments section down below about deck ideas or card synergies. It's really cool to see the number of decks that are coming as of late because more and more people are brewing with more and more commanders, and I love to see that. So let me know what you guys think, and thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!